When Thomas Zane fell for Barbara Jagger, it happened fast. She was young, vibrant, and beautiful, full of life. He had never been a very happy man, and without any seeming effort, she had changed all that. Zane felt good for the first time in his life. Everything she did was another piece of a jigsaw puzzle he hadn't even known he'd been missing. And best of all, she made the words flow, strong and sharp. She was his muse.
Hello?
You goober, I literally just started streaming. You're now belching on my YouTube channel. I'm dying. Give me a hot second. Nobody was answering, so I booted up Alan Wake.
I saw that. But yeah, I think I'm like 25% in, 30% in the second one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I like finally just got to the part where they let you play as Alan Wake the first time.
And you haven't played Control.
No.
Oh, stuff's happening. I want to find a checkpoint here.
It's pretty good.
Is it? That's
Having
good.
never played any of the games and like not knowing 100% of what's going on. It's pretty interesting.
So the first Alan Wake I told you, which is where he like writes a book that comes true and he doesn't remember writing it. There's a bit more to it that I didn't remember. So it's kind of good I replayed it.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole first part of when you play as Alan in the second one. He's like at a talk show place. One of those like midnight talk show hosts, and he's like, "Hey, look, so this is your new book." And he's like, "What are you talking about? I didn't make a book."
Oh.
And he's like, "Ah, you're so funny." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never made a new book." And then you just like play as him trying to get out of the studio.
So I forgot in the beginning, his wife is scared of the dark. And they're on a cabin on an island in a lake, and suddenly the lights go out and she's gone. And then he suddenly wakes up in a car crash. And when he like finds his way back out, he finds out that it's been a week and that that island hasn't existed for 30 years. It was blown up in a volcano explosion back in the 70s.
Huh.
Yeah, so the rest of the game is him trying to fight the darkness, which is the thing, the evil presence. He's fighting that to like try and get her back. And I remember at the end, like, so Control was basically, there's different objects that are imbued with some kind of psychic power for one reason or another. And in that lake, it was if you write something in that cabin, it becomes true. So he's like writing in this book to try and get his wife back, but the dark presence is like trying to like get him to write one way, and he's trying to write another way. And he can't like just write whatever he wants. Like it has to fit with the story, or else it doesn't come true. Like if he said, and then I got $1 million, like nothing would happen. It wouldn't occur. He would have to write that there was a bank truck that crashed and fell open, and then the money spewed out, and like he would have to like make it make sense in the story.
Yeah.
And as he's writing the story, it becomes a horror story, and he's like, no matter what I do, it only makes sense to keep going down this path. Like it doesn't make sense for everybody to just suddenly be fine. And at the end of it, to stop the darkness, he writes that he locked himself at the bottom of the lake. So, like, he goes down to where he thought his wife was, and, like, is sealed there and can't write anymore. And then the next game was Control. A girl loses her brother due to one of these little psychic events. Like, they kidnap him, basically, the FBI. So she goes to she tracks down this shady branch of the government, which isn't called the FBI. It's like the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control. Like they're trying to control these entities. But she goes to this shady building, and this shady building is one of those entities where when you leave a room and you walk back into it, the room is completely different. Like you can't make a map. Because, like, if you try to get to, like, the maintenance room, you'll go through, like, 4 completely different rooms. And the next time you try to do it the next day, there's, like, 8 completely different rooms to get to the same place. And at some points in the game, the building goes crazy and shit starts moving on its own, which I think is that music video I sent you. Where she's, like, running down the hallway, and, like, everything's swirling and it's playing that band's music. If you remember.
Yeah.
So she ends up becoming the head of that department. And at the very end of the DLC, she starts looking into Alan Wake's case, which is what proves that they're in the same universe. And that's all I know. I don't know anything about the new game other than you play as 2 people. And I think the girl is FBI, not FBC.
Yeah, she's FBI.
Okay. Oh, in Control, there's like this other universe being that is helping our world for an undiscussed reason. But basically, our enemy and their enemy are the same. So they decided to help us. And there's a third enemy, like entity that's like a hissing noise, and it possesses the mind of people and makes them violent. And that's who you're fighting through Control, is all of the employees have become violent, like supervillains with psychic powers.